You ever heard of Miyamoto Musashi? Dude was a total badass, a legendary Japanese swordsman. Not just some dude swinging a sharp piece of metal, though. Musashi was a philosopher warrior, like a samurai Yoda. He wrote The Book of Five Rings, which is basically a blueprint for life, disguised as a martial arts manual. It's deep, man. We're diving into three principles from Musashi's teachings that can change your perspective and solve a lot of problems you might be facing. We're talking about understanding the big picture, accepting things as they are, and shifting your focus from yourself to the world around you. These principles are like ancient cheat codes for navigating the complexities of life. And the best part? They're not some esoteric, mystical mumbo-jumbo. These are practical tools you can use every single day to improve your relationships, your work, your entire outlook. We're going to break them down, get into the nitty-gritty, and I'm going to share some stories and insights along the way. So buckle up, folks. Let's explore the path to clarity. All right, so Musashi talks about this idea of understanding the way. Sounds kind of vague, right? But it's actually pretty straightforward. It's about seeing the big picture, man. Think of it like a chessboard, right? You don't just focus on one piece, you've got to see how all the pieces move together. The strategies, the potential outcomes. Life's the same way. You can't get bogged down in the small stuff, in the immediate problems. You've got to zoom out, see the bigger context. This applies to everything from your personal relationships to your career, even your understanding of the universe. Let's say you're stuck in a dead-end job, right? You're miserable. You hate your boss, you're ready to walk out. But hold on, zoom out for a second. What's the bigger picture here? Maybe this job is giving you valuable experience. Maybe it's teaching you resilience, discipline, how to deal with difficult people. Or maybe it's just a stepping stone, a way to pay the bills while you figure out your passion. See, when you understand the way, you see the interconnectedness of things. You realize that every experience, even the shitty ones, has something to teach you. It's about perspective, man. It's about not getting lost in the weeds. And this principle, it's not just some philosophical mumbo-jumbo. It's practical. It's about making better decisions. When you see the big picture, you're less likely to make impulsive choices based on fear or anger. You can strategize, you can plan, you can navigate challenges with more clarity and purpose. And that, my friends, is powerful. It's like that time I decided to get into stand-up comedy. I was terrified, man. I'd never done anything like it before, but I saw the bigger picture. I knew that if I could conquer my fear, if I could make people laugh, it would open up a whole new world of possibilities. And you know what? It did. It led me to podcasting, to interviewing some of the most fascinating people on the planet. All because I was willing to zoom out, see the bigger picture, and take a leap of faith. So, how do you actually apply this principle in your own life? Well, start by asking yourself some questions. What's the bigger picture in this situation? What am I trying to achieve in the long run? What are the potential consequences of my actions? Don't be afraid to seek out different perspectives. Talk to people you trust, mentors, friends, even your enemies. Sometimes they can see things you can't. Remember, understanding the way is not about having all the answers. It's about being open to learning, to growing, to constantly expanding your perspective. It's about seeing the forest for the trees, man. And trust me, once you start seeing the world through this lens, everything changes. You'll be amazed at the solutions you come up with, the connections you make, the opportunities that present themselves. It's like putting on a new pair of glasses, man. Everything becomes clearer, sharper, more vibrant. So embrace the way, seek out the bigger picture, and watch as your life transforms. Now this next principle, this one's huge. Musashi talks about accepting things as they are. Not just accepting, but really embracing the present moment, the good, the bad, the ugly. Now this doesn't mean you become passive, just lying down and letting life walk all over you. It's about recognizing that fighting reality, resisting what is, it only creates more suffering. Think about it. How much of your stress, your anxiety comes from wishing things were different? You're stuck in traffic, you're late for a meeting, and you're fuming. But here's the thing. You're stuck in traffic. Getting angry about it isn't going to make the cars move any faster. It's just going to raise your blood pressure and ruin your day. Accepting the situation, on the other hand, That's where the power lies. When you accept what is, you free up mental energy that you can then use to find solutions, to adapt, to make the best of a less than ideal situation. It's like that time I got food poisoning right before a big podcast recording. I was nauseous, I felt like crap, and I seriously considered cancelling. But then I thought, you know what? This sucks, but it is what it is. So I powered through. I had a bucket on standby just in case. And you know what? The podcast turned out to be one of my best. Why? Because I accepted the situation, I adapted, and I focused on what I could control. Look, life's full of curveballs. Relationships end, jobs disappear, pandemics happen. It's how you respond to these challenges that defines you. Do you crumble under pressure or do you roll with the punches? Accepting what is doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're choosing not to waste your energy on things you can't change. It's about focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Joe, this is easier said than done. And you're right. Accepting reality, especially when it sucks, it's a practice. It's something you have to work at every single day. But here's the thing. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Start small. Next time you're stuck in traffic, instead of getting angry, try taking some deep breaths. Focus on the present moment. Listen to some music, or let's say you're dealing with a difficult person. Instead of trying to change them, accept that this is who they are. You can't control their behavior, but you can control how you react to it. Remember, acceptance is not about condoning bad behavior. It's about choosing peace over suffering. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment, anger, and frustration. And let me tell you, that kind of freedom, that's priceless. It allows you to see things more clearly, to make better decisions, to live a more fulfilling life. So embrace the present moment, my friends. Accept what is, and watch as your life transforms. Chapter 3. Get over yourself. Thinking lightly of yourself, deeply of the world. All right, this last principle, this one's a real game changer. Musashi talks about thinking lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Sounds kind of counterintuitive in our selfie-obsessed culture, right? But stay with me here. When Musashi says think lightly of yourself, he's not talking about low self-esteem. He's talking about humility, about letting go of your ego. See, your ego, it's this little voice in your head that's constantly worried about itself. It's the voice that says, I'm not good enough, or I'm better than everyone else. It's the voice that drives you to seek validation, to compare yourself to others, to constantly prove your worth. And here's the thing about the ego. It's a trap. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-obsession, preventing you from truly connecting with the world around you. When you let go of your ego, when you think lightly of yourself, you free yourself from this trap. You become more present, more compassionate, more open to learning and growing. Now, the second part of this principle, thinking deeply of the world, that's where things get really interesting. It's about shifting your focus from yourself to something larger than yourself. It's about cultivating a sense of wonder, of curiosity, of appreciation for the interconnectedness of all things. Think about it. We live on this tiny planet, hurtling through space, surrounded by billions of galaxies. We're part of this vast, intricate web of life, and yet we spend so much time caught up in our own little dramas. When you start thinking deeply of the world, you tap into something much larger than yourself. You realize that your problems, your worries, they're not insignificant, but they're also not the center of the universe. This realization, it can be incredibly liberating. It allows you to approach life with more humility, more gratitude, more compassion. You start to see the beauty in the ordinary, the magic in the mundane. Now, how do you actually put this principle into practice? Well, it starts with awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts. How often are you caught up in your own head, worrying about what other people think, comparing yourself to others? When you catch yourself doing this, gently shift your focus. Look around you. Appreciate the beauty of nature, the kindness of strangers, the simple joys of being alive. Engage in activities that take you outside of yourself. Volunteer your time. Connect with nature. Explore new cultures. Have deep conversations with people who challenge your perspectives. The more you focus on the world around you, the less space there is in your mind for ego-driven thoughts. Remember, this is a practice. It's not about achieving some kind of ego-death enlightenment. It's about making small, conscious choices every day to shift your focus from yourself to something larger. And as you do this, as you think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world, you'll find that you become more content, more compassionate, more connected to the world around you. And that, my friends, is a recipe for a truly fulfilling life. So, we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about understanding the way, accepting what is, and thinking lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. These three principles, they're not just some ancient wisdom to be admired from afar. They're tools, man, tools that you can use to navigate the complexities of life, to overcome challenges, to live a more fulfilling existence. Take some time to reflect on these principles. How can you apply them to your own life? What changes can you make starting today to shift your perspective, to find more clarity, to live with more purpose? Thanks for tuning in, folks. If you found this conversation valuable, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the path to clarity is a journey, not a destination. So keep exploring, keep growing, and keep seeking out the extraordinary in the ordinary.